Marvel's recent decision sent shockwaves through Hollywood, a decision so abrupt it left even the most loyal fans questioning the very nature of stardom and trust in Tinseltown. Imagine one of the industry's most bankable stars, a figure synonymous with charm and box office gold, suddenly cast aside. What does it say about loyalty when a studio that once championed marquee actors can so swiftly sever ties? This isn't just a story about a falling star. It's a deep dive into the underbelly of power plays, personal ambitions, and the collateral damage of behind-the-scenes manipulations. The catalyst. It all began with a series of damning revelations, leaked receipts that hinted at a story far more intricate than mere on-set disagreements. What initially seemed like a minor conflict between creative minds quickly escalated into a full-blown scandal, revealing layers of complexity that no one could have anticipated. These receipts, a collection of digital communications, emails, and private messages, were more than just evidence of a dispute. They were a window into a world where egos, ambitions, and power dynamics collided in ways that would leave an indelible mark on everyone involved. Filmmaker Justin Baldoni, known for his knack for crafting emotionally resonant stories, inadvertently became the unlikely catalyst in this unfolding drama. Baldoni, whose work often explores themes of vulnerability and human connection, found himself at the center of a storm that was anything but empathetic. His leaked communications, the so-called receipts, painted a picture of a brewing conflict that went beyond creative differences. They revealed a tangled web of alliances, rivalries, and behind-the-scenes maneuvering that suggested a much larger narrative at play. Baldoni's involvement, though unintentional, added a layer of irony to the situation. Here was a filmmaker celebrated for his ability to tell stories about unity and understanding, now caught in a controversy that exposed the very opposite. The receipts didn't just spotlight a single moment of discord, they signaled the start of a cascading chain reaction that would soon engulf the entire production. What began as a private disagreement between a handful of individuals quickly spiraled into a public spectacle, drawing in actors, producers, studio executives, and even fans. Each new revelation added fuel to the fire, turning what could have been a contained issue into a full-blown crisis. The documents hinted at alleged power maneuvers designed to protect reputations at any cost, raising questions about the lengths to which people in Hollywood would go to maintain their image. It was a stark reminder that in an industry built on storytelling, the most compelling narratives often happen off-screen. As the controversy grew, it became clear that this was more than just a clash of personalities or creative visions. It was a reflection of deeper issues within the industry, issues that had been simmering beneath the surface for years. The leaked receipts brought to light the fragile nature of trust in Hollywood, where alliances can shift in an instant and loyalty is often a commodity rather than a principle. They also highlighted the challenges of creative freedom in an environment where commercial interests and personal agendas frequently take precedence over artistic integrity. The fallout from the scandal was swift and far-reaching. Social media erupted with debates, hashtags, and hot takes as fans and critics alike weighed in on the unfolding drama. Industry insiders found themselves forced to take sides, while others scrambled to distance themselves from the controversy altogether. For Baldoni, this situation was particularly fraught. As someone who had built his career on authenticity and emotional honesty, being thrust into the center of such a divisive issue was both jarring and disorienting. Yet in many ways, it also underscored the themes he had long explored in his work: the complexities of human relationships, the struggle for power, and the often blurred line between right and wrong. In the weeks that followed, the controversy became a case study in how quickly things can unravel in the world of entertainment. It challenged long-held beliefs about collaboration and trust, forcing those involved to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves and the industry they were a part of. For some, it was a wake-up call, a moment of reckoning that prompted introspection and change. For others, it was a cautionary tale, a reminder of the high stakes and even higher risks that come with working in Hollywood. Ultimately, the leaked receipts were more than just a catalyst for scandal. They were a mirror held up to an industry in flux. They revealed the tensions and contradictions that define modern Hollywood, where the pursuit of art and the pursuit of power are often one and the same. Behind-the-scenes drama. Delving deeper into the chaos reveals a complicated web woven by three major players: Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni. On the surface, the collaboration between these prominent figures promised a blend of wit, star power, and heartfelt storytelling. It was a project that seemed destined for success, combining Reynolds' signature charm, Lively's undeniable screen presence, and Baldoni's reputation for crafting emotionally resonant narratives. Yet beneath the polished veneer of this high-profile collaboration, tensions were simmering, threatening to derail the production before it even reached the finish line. Insiders whispered about creative conflicts that went beyond mere artistic differences. What started as minor disagreements over script changes and character development soon escalated into a full-blown battle of egos. Reports suggested that while Baldoni was juggling multiple roles on set, directing, rewriting scripts, and even flirting with the idea of taking on an acting role, Blake Lively felt increasingly sidelined. Her creative input, once valued and sought after, was slowly overshadowed by Baldoni's domineering style. This shift in dynamics did not go unnoticed, and it wasn't long before the set became a breeding ground for resentment and frustration. Lively, known for her sharp instincts and hands-on approach to her projects, found herself in a difficult position. She had signed on to the film not just as an actress, but as a creative partner, eager to contribute to the storytelling process. However, as Baldoni's influence grew, her voice began to fade into the background. Sources close to the production revealed that Lively often felt her suggestions were dismissed or ignored, leaving her feeling undervalued and marginalized. This growing sense of alienation was compounded by the fact that her husband, Ryan Reynolds, was also deeply involved in the project, creating an awkward dynamic that blurred the lines between personal and professional relationships. Reynolds, for his part, found himself caught in the middle of the escalating tensions. While he shared a close personal and professional bond with Lively, he also respected Baldoni's vision and dedication to the project. This put him in a precarious position as he struggled to balance his loyalty to his wife with his commitment to the film. Insiders noted that Reynolds often played the role of mediator, attempting to diffuse conflicts and keep the peace on set. However, even his diplomatic efforts could only do so much to quell the growing discontent. As the weeks went on, the initial friction, once dismissed as typical on-set disagreements, rapidly morphed into a multifaceted power struggle. The tension between Baldoni and Lively became increasingly palpable, with both parties digging in their heels and refusing to back down. This clash of wills not only affected the atmosphere on set, but also began to impact the film's production schedule. Scenes that should have been completed in a matter of days were delayed as disagreements over creative decisions brought the workflow to a standstill. The crew, caught in the crossfire, grew increasingly frustrated, with some even speculating that the project might not be completed on time, or at all. The drama didn't stay confined to the set for long. As rumors of the behind-the-scenes turmoil began to leak, the public perception of the film started to shift. What was once anticipated as a groundbreaking collaboration was now being viewed through a lens of skepticism and doubt. Fans and critics alike began to question whether the film could live up to its initial promise, given the reported discord among its key players. Social media became a battleground, with supporters of Lively and Baldoni taking sides and fueling the controversy with their own interpretations of events. In an industry where every detail counts, the disparities in influence and creative control quickly escalated into personal grievances. What had begun as a professional disagreement soon took on a more personal tone, with both Lively and Baldoni feeling increasingly misunderstood and unappreciated. This emotional undercurrent only served to deepen the rift, making it even more difficult to find common ground. The situation was further complicated by the involvement of studio executives, who were growing increasingly concerned about the potential impact of the drama on the film's box office performance. Ultimately, the behind-the-scenes drama became a cautionary tale about the challenges of collaboration in Hollywood. It highlighted the delicate balance between creative vision and personal dynamics, and the ways in which power struggles can derail even the most promising projects. For those involved, the experience was a sobering reminder of the high stakes and intense pressures that come with working in the entertainment industry. And while the film eventually made its way to the screen, the scars of the production process lingered, serving as a testament to the complexities of bringing a creative vision to life. The unraveling narrative. As the controversy deepened, the carefully constructed narrative began to crumble, revealing a story far more convoluted and unsettling than anyone had anticipated. What had initially been framed as a minor disagreement over creative differences quickly escalated into a full-blown scandal, thanks to a series of leaked text messages and private communications that started circulating online. These documents, which included emails, direct messages, and even voice notes, hinted at secret maneuvers that went far beyond routine creative disputes. They painted a picture of a production in turmoil, where alliances were fragile and trust was in short supply. The revelation suggested that the drama wasn't confined to a simple clash of egos or a minor disagreement of script direction. Instead, they pointed to a systematic effort to influence media narratives and manipulate public opinion. It became clear that this was not just a case of creative differences, but a calculated attempt to control the story being told, both on and off the screen. The leaked communications revealed that key players were not only aware of the growing tensions, but were actively working to shape the narrative in their favor. This behind-the-scenes maneuvering added a layer of intrigue to the controversy, turning it into a high-stakes game of perception management. Ryan Reynolds, typically known for his laid-back humor and effortless charm, found himself entangled in a web of accusations suggesting that he was more than a passive bystander. The leaked communications implied that Reynolds was actively involved in steering the conversation away from Justin Baldoni's directorial vision and subtly shifting the spotlight onto Blake Lively's grievances. This revelation came as a shock to many, as Reynolds had long been seen as a unifying figure on set, someone who could diffuse tension with a well-timed joke or a reassuring word. However, the leaked messages suggested a different side to the actor, one that was deeply invested in the outcome of the production and willing to take strategic steps to protect his interests. The implications of Reynolds' alleged involvement were significant. If true, it meant that the conflict was not just a matter of creative differences, but a deliberate effort to undermine Baldoni's authority and elevate Lively's perspective. This raised questions about the dynamics between the three key players and the extent to which personal relationships were influencing professional decisions. For fans and industry insiders, it was a stark reminder that even the most polished public personas can have complex and sometimes contradictory motivations. Each new piece of evidence added layers of complexity to the unfolding story, leaving fans and industry insiders alike wondering, how did a project that once promised creative brilliance spiral into such chaos? The film, which had been touted as a groundbreaking collaboration between some of Hollywood's most talented figures, was now being discussed not for its artistic merits but for the drama surrounding its production. Social media became a battleground, with fans of Reynolds, Lively, and Baldoni taking sides and debating the merits of their respective positions. Hashtags trended, think pieces were written, and the controversy dominated entertainment news cycles for weeks. The leaked communications also shed light on the broader challenges of working in Hollywood, where the lines between personal and professional relationships are often blurred. They highlighted the pressures faced by actors, directors, and producers to maintain their public image while navigating the often cutthroat world of filmmaking. For Baldoni, the revelations were particularly damaging as they called into question his ability to lead a high-profile project and manage the egos involved. For Lively, the situation was equally fraught, as it raised doubts about her role in the conflict and whether she had been unfairly portrayed as a victim or a provocateur. As the controversy continued to unfold, it became clear that the unraveling narrative was about more than just one film. It was a reflection of the broader issues within the entertainment industry, where power dynamics, creative control, and personal agendas often collide in ways that can derail even the most promising projects. The scandal served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of prioritizing perception over collaboration and the toll that such conflicts can take on everyone involved. In the end, the question remained: could the film overcome the shadow of its troubled production and deliver on its initial promise? Or would it be remembered not for its artistic achievements, but for the drama that surrounded its creation? For those who had followed the controversy closely, the answer was far from clear. What was certain, however, was that the unraveling narrative had left an indelible mark on everyone involved, serving as a reminder of the complexities and challenges of bringing a creative vision to life in the world of Hollywood. The power play and manipulation. At the heart of the controversy was an alleged power play, a behind-the-scenes chess match where every move was calculated and every message carried a hidden agenda. What initially appeared to be a straightforward creative disagreement had evolved into a complex battle of wits, with each player vying for control over the narrative. Reports began to surface suggesting that Ryan Reynolds, often celebrated as Hollywood's affable everyman, was not merely a passive participant in the drama. Instead, he was allegedly leveraging his considerable influence to shape media coverage in a way that favored the narrative pushed by his wife, Blake Lively. This revelation added a new layer of intrigue to the scandal, transforming it from a simple clash of egos into a full-blown strategic operation. The receipts, now a focal point of the scandal, revealed a series of conversations that pointed to coordinated efforts to leak damaging information about Justin Baldoni. These were not random outbursts of frustration or offhand remarks made in the heat of the moment. They were carefully orchestrated moves in an intricate game of reputation management. The leaked communication suggested that Reynolds and Lively had been working behind the scenes to control the flow of information, ensuring that their version of events took center stage. This level of manipulation was shocking to many, as it painted a picture of Hollywood's golden couple as not just victims of circumstance, but as active participants in a calculated effort to protect their interests. The alleged strategy involved more than just spinning the narrative in their favor. It reportedly included tactics such as selectively leaking information to sympathetic media outlets, planting stories that cast Baldoni in a negative light, and even enlisting the help of publicists and PR teams to amplify their message. These efforts were designed to shift the focus away from Baldoni's directorial vision and onto Lively's grievances, framing her as the wrong party in the conflict. By doing so, Reynolds and Lively hoped to not only safeguard their personal and professional reputations, but also to position themselves as the sympathetic figures in the eyes of the public. The implications of these alleged maneuvers were far-reaching. For Baldoni, the leaked information was a devastating blow to his credibility and reputation. As a filmmaker known for his commitment to authenticity and emotional storytelling, being portrayed as a domineering and difficult collaborator was a stark contrast to the image he had cultivated over the years. The damage to his career was immediate, with some industry insiders questioning whether he would be able to recover from the scandal. For Reynolds and Lively, the fallout was more nuanced. While they succeeded in steering the narrative in their favor, the revelations about their behind-the-scenes tactics raised questions about their integrity and the lengths they were willing to go to protect their image. The controversy also highlighted the broader issue of power dynamics in Hollywood, where influence and connections often dictate the course of events. It underscored the fact that in an industry where image is everything, the ability to control the narrative can be just as important as talent or creativity. The alleged actions of Reynolds and Lively served as a reminder that even the most beloved figures in Hollywood are not immune to the pressures of reputation management and the temptations of wielding power. As the scandal continued to unfold, it became clear that the consequences of this power play extended beyond the individuals directly involved. The controversy cast a shadow over the film itself, with many wondering whether it could overcome the negative publicity and deliver on its initial promise. It also raised questions about the future of high-profile collaborations in Hollywood, as industry insiders and fans alike began to question whether such partnerships could survive the pressures of ego, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of control. In the end, the alleged power play and manipulation at the heart of the controversy served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of prioritizing image over integrity. It was a stark reminder that in an industry built on storytelling, the most compelling narratives often happen off-screen, where the stakes are high and the consequences are real. For those involved, the scandal was a sobering lesson in the complexities of navigating fame, power, and public perception in the unforgiving world of Hollywood. Industry reactions and fallout. When news of the leaked receipts broke, the reaction within Hollywood was swift and polarized. The entertainment industry, often characterized by its ability to quietly manage internal disputes behind closed doors, found itself thrust into the spotlight as the scandal unfolded. Marvel's decision to part ways with Ryan Reynolds sent shockwaves through the industry, serving as a stark reminder that no star, regardless of their box office draw or public persona, was untouchable when it came to allegations of unethical conduct. This move by one of the most powerful studios in Hollywood signaled a shift in how the industry was willing to handle controversies involving its biggest names. Executives who typically rely on a delicate balance of talent and public image to drive their projects were forced to confront the reality that the rules of the game were changing. The leaked receipts, which meticulously documented behind-the-scenes manipulations, left little room for ambiguity or spin. This level of transparency was unprecedented, and it forced studios to reevaluate their relationships with high-profile talent. The scandal became a case study in the risks of aligning too closely with stars whose off-screen behavior could potentially overshadow their on-screen achievements. Rumors spread like wildfire across social media and industry blogs, igniting heated debates among fans and insiders alike. On one side were those who defended Ryan Reynolds' long-standing reputation as Hollywood's affable everyman. They argued that the controversy was nothing more than a case of miscommunication blown out of proportion, a casualty of the hyper-connected digital age where every private conversation could be weaponized. These supporters pointed to Reynolds' track record of professionalism and his ability to bring humor and charm to even the most challenging situations, To them, the scandal was an overreaction, a tempest in a teapot that would soon blow over. On the other side were those who saw the controversy as a long overdue reckoning. For years, Hollywood had been criticized for its tendency to protect its biggest stars, often at the expense of accountability. The leaked receipts, with their detailed documentation of behind-the-scenes maneuvering, were seen as a turning point, a sign that even the most beloved figures could not escape scrutiny when the truth came to light. This camp argued that the scandal was not just about Ryan Reynolds or Justin Baldoni, but about the broader culture of entitlement and impunity that had long defined the industry. The fallout extended far beyond the individuals directly involved. In boardrooms and production meetings across Hollywood, executives were left grappling with the implications of the scandal. They were forced to weigh the risks of continuing partnerships with stars who might, in the future, engage in similar behind-the-scenes manipulations. The question on everyone's mind was whether the potential box office draw of a star was worth the reputational damage that could result from their off-screen behavior. This calculus was further complicated by the growing influence of social media, where public opinion could shift in an instant and where scandals could quickly spiral out of control. The controversy also had a ripple effect on other high-profile collaborations. Studios began to reassess their approach to managing talent, with some opting for stricter contracts and more robust oversight mechanisms. The goal was to minimize the risk of similar scandals derailing future projects. At the same time, there was a growing recognition that the industry needed to do more to foster a culture of accountability and transparency. This meant not only holding stars to higher standards, but also creating an environment where ethical behavior was prioritized over star power. For Ryan Reynolds, the fallout was both personal and professional. While he remained a beloved figure to many of his fans, the scandal undeniably tarnished his reputation in certain circles. It also raised questions about his future projects and whether studios would be willing to take a chance on him in the wake of the controversy. For Justin Baldoni, the situation was equally fraught. While the leaked receipts had exposed the challenges he faced on set, they also placed him at the center of a media storm that threatened to overshadow his work as a filmmaker. In the end, the scandal served as a wake-up call for the entire industry. It underscored the fact that loyalty and star power could no longer be taken for granted in an era where transparency and accountability were increasingly valued. The fallout was not confined to one studio or one project. It was a moment of reckoning that forced Hollywood to confront its own contradictions and to consider what it truly meant to be a responsible and ethical player in the world of entertainment. Personal dynamics and public personas. Behind the public spectacle, the personal dynamics among Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni were far more complex than any headline could capture. Blake Lively, once celebrated for her poised elegance and warm public persona, found herself at the center of a storm that challenged her carefully cultivated image. Allegations surfaced that she had not only grown frustrated with Baldoni's overreach, but had also taken an active role in directing the narrative in her favor. In leaked messages, she referred to her influential network, colloquially dubbed Dragons, a term that underscored the formidable allies she could call upon if her demands were not met. This language hinted at a level of behind-the-scenes maneuvering that blurred the lines between personal ambition and professional strategy. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds' usual humor and affability were called into question by evidence suggesting his involvement in these strategic communications. Known for his witty one-liners and relatable charm, Ryan was now portrayed in a light that many found hard to reconcile with his public image. The controversy forced fans to reconsider the personas they thought they knew, questioning whether the humor was merely a veneer over a more calculated, even if unspoken, involvement in his wife's and, by extension, his own narrative control. The uncertain road ahead. As the dust began to settle, one thing became clear: the implications of this controversy would be felt for a long time. With Marvel now publicly distancing itself from Ryan Reynolds, questions arose about the future of the studio's ambitious projects. How would Marvel navigate the fallout when its most bankable actor was no longer a safe pair of hands? Industry insiders speculated that replacing a star of Ryan's caliber mid-franchise would be a Herculean task, one that could potentially derail entire projects and lead to massive financial repercussions. Beyond the immediate implications for Marvel, the incident sparked broader debates about accountability in Hollywood. If even a celebrated actor with a seemingly unassailable public image could be ousted over allegations of behind-the-scenes manipulation, what did that say about the power dynamics that had long defined the industry? Rumors began circulating about potential legal battles, hush-hush negotiations, and even a possible rebranding of the controversial project as a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition. For Ryan Reynolds, the path forward was shrouded in uncertainty. Would he attempt a public apology or a heartfelt explanation, trying to reclaim the goodwill that had once defined him? Or was this the end of an era, a final curtain call that left no room for damage control or redemption? A cautionary tale. In the end, the saga of Marvel's abrupt departure from one of its brightest stars is more than just a story of a single celebrity's fall from grace. It's a modern parable about the perilous intersection of creative ambition, personal loyalty, and the relentless pursuit of power in an industry where every move is scrutinized. The leaked receipts and the ensuing media frenzy have laid bare the intricate and often murky dynamics that underlie even the most glamorous facades. As fans grapple with the question of whether Ryan Reynolds' departure marks a temporary setback or a permanent shift in the Hollywood landscape, one thing remains indisputable. In an age where every digital footprint can be weaponized, no public persona is immune to the consequences of behind-the-scenes power plays. For Marvel, the decision sends a stark reminder to all marquee talents: loyalty must be earned and maintained, not assumed. And for the industry at large, it raises critical questions about accountability, transparency, and the true cost of protecting one's public image. As new narratives begin to form in the wake of this controversy, each one colored by speculation, rumor, and a lingering sense of betrayal, the future of Hollywood remains as unpredictable as ever. In this era of digital documentation and instantaneous news cycles, even the most carefully constructed celebrity personas can crumble under the weight of hard evidence and relentless public scrutiny. Ultimately, this chapter in Hollywood's ever-evolving story serves as both a cautionary tale and a call to re-examine the values that underpin the world of entertainment. The revelations surrounding Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni compel us to look beyond the glitz and glamour, to question the hidden dynamics that drive success and downfall alike. And as the industry moves forward, one can only hope that these hard-learned lessons will pave the way for a more transparent and accountable future, where creativity and collaboration are celebrated without compromising the very principles that make storytelling such a powerful force. Conclusion. In the end, what remains is a stark reminder: even in a world fueled by celebrity and spectacle, the truth finds a way to emerge. The drama, the power plays, and the fallout are all parts of a larger narrative about human ambition, vulnerability, and the relentless quest for control in an ever-changing industry. And while Marvel's decision may have closed one chapter, it has also opened the door to new stories that will continue to captivate our imaginations and challenge our perceptions of what it means to be a star in today's Hollywood. As we await Ryan Reynolds' next move and Marvel's next casting decision, we are left with more questions than answers. Can the fallen star reinvent himself, or is this the end of an era for one of Hollywood's most beloved faces? Will the industry ever learn that behind every carefully curated public persona lies a complex network of ambitions, rivalries, and hidden agendas? Only time will tell. For now, we watch, we wonder, and we learn from this unfolding drama, a drama that is as much about the art of storytelling as it is about the very real consequences of power misuse. This isn't just a headline, it's a reminder that in Hollywood, even the most dazzling lights can cast the darkest shadows.